Okay, I'm coming on a couple minutes late here because I uh, I couldn't see myself. I didn't know what was going on, and then I realized I was not wearing my contacts. If it looks like I have tears under my eyes, I do. Well, it's contact solution. It's not real tears. My guest today on Show Me About It is my friend Caroline Spence. We met in Nashville. She's an incredible writer. I We have lots of mutual friends, and I was she was one of the only people that I wanted to write with during COVID because she's such an incredible, capable, thoughtful writer. And she released a record a couple days after I released Selfish, April 29th, I believe. She released True North, and then she just put out a deluxe version. And in her promotion of that, I saw she was talking with some friends about the process, and by friends I mean she was on a podcast, and she has this group chat that they were talking about on the podcast, where they were just kind of getting into the highs and lows of releasing music, and I really wanted to talk to her about it, and I think that she's on here. I'm gonna wave at you. Hey, so Caroline, if you I think you have to ask to join, or maybe I can invite you, but I don't know that to be true. Oh, there. This is called dead air. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. How are ya?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you. It's a Sunday. Um, I just want to jump right in here because the last Show Me About It I did was with friends from high school, and
Uh-huh.
I honestly got lost in her eyes, and it took an hour because because I guess I don't respect her time. We're old friends. So with you, it's 15 minutes. I'm doing what I said. I'm going to ask you all the questions that I
Awesome.
have prepared. So let's begin. Caroline, how are you feeling today? Are you feeling more like a bitch, more like a whore, more like a saint, or none of the above? That's the secret option.
Honestly, I just cleaned my kitchen floor, so I'm a fucking saint.
Yeah.
I just cleaned. I just cleaned, so I just feel like I deserve the rest of the day off, probably, because I did one chore.
The
Um,
hardest
the
chore.
hardest chore, the chore I put off the most, probably,
Yeah.
is the floors. So I did that, and yeah, I'm really feeling that Sunday energy. Yeah.
Which, when I said that you personify Sunday energy, what I meant is like you have a garden. I feel like you take meaningful time to invest in beauty. You knit, things that you aspire to do on a Sunday, or that I aspire to do on a Sunday, and I don't do. But
Hmm.
that's really it's that peaceful Sunday
Yeah,
energy.
that really is the stuff that makes me happy, is anything that sort of forces me to slow down, because I desperately need that in my brain. My brain is like either at 100 or needs to be close to zero. There's like, yeah.
You only have one speed. I used to really struggle to get Liam to walk around the block with me, and he was like, "I'm like a horse. I only have one speed. I can only be like galloping, or it's not, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
be sleeping."
Yeah, that's, I feel like depending on the like time of year, I can kind of access that middle point, but usually it's one or the other. Yeah.
Well, when I originally wrote you, I I was like seeing a bunch of stuff you're posting, and I have questions. I don't know if they're things you'd want to like talk about necessarily publicly, but and you can not do that, and then I'm just gonna text you and be like, what was that? But I feel like um you were sort of talking about like the struggle of putting out this album, and you recorded it in 2020, and then it came out recently, and uh, when I originally wrote you about Show Me About It, I wanted to talk about like feeling like you're being pulled in a million directions, and how like you have to be creative, and then you have to put on your business hat, and you have to be uh, you know, like the leader, but you don't want to micromanage people and all that kind of stuff. Can you speak to what that process was like, putting out your music over many years, and can you tell me like sort of directly what you've been alluding to? You've said things like it's been a journey or it's been a slog or whatever to put
Mm-hmm.
it like, what do you mean by that?
I will text you some of it,
Okay.
but I've been putting out records. This was my fourth one I just put out. Two of them I put out by myself. Two of them I put out with a label. And thankfully, the next one I put out will be in a different situation. And I sort of feel like I've been inside the machine of the music industry, and someone who has my goals and has my sort of inner fabric, I think was not built for the circumstances that I was in the industry. Um, and so I am actively sort of realigning my artist self and separating my artist self from whatever my business self is. I think in your 20s, you really, or just in the early parts of your career, you really don't separate those things. And I felt firsthand the damage of like a business, I don't know, the business side not feeling good and letting that let the person feel bad. And that's just something I don't ever want to sort of subject myself to. So I guess my work is like, yeah, it is like you said, like balancing needing to be a leader all the time and also wanting to take care of yourself and that sort of thing. So um, that's in my experience is that I'm kind of at square one right now with how I want to move forward. But honestly, I haven't felt this like aligned in a very long time. So that's good. Yeah,
Congratulations.
I just was not meant to be a cog in a machine that couldn't adapt, I guess, is what I feel.
A machine that can adapt, like that is pretending the year is 1997
A
or
little bit. And also just like, you know, eh, I have different needs in than other artists in that situation, and I just couldn't get the attention in certain areas because it had to be like a formula for everybody. And ultimately it didn't allow me to promote things the way I wanted to promote them, to be supported in the ways that were going to be helpful. And then it also made it so I looked like I was failing in these areas that were never meant to be my strengths, you
yeah,
know? So that's the sort of thing where I was like, well, I'm just going to get out of this like terrible rubric that is like built for me to like fail. That's sort of what it felt like at a certain point. So yeah, life's too short to feel bad about the thing that makes you you. You know,
well
and life's too short. We
said.
should be enjoying our lives, and we should be enjoying our gifts, and we should be working with people that see things similarly than we do, that we do.
Totally. I feel like there's such a um, glorification of like struggle and difficult people in the music industry, and I'm not doing it. I,
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. I can't, like, when I first moved to Nashville, I was just like, I'll take any ride. I want to, you know, just write with as many people as I can. And then when COVID happened and I wasn't doing that, that was the first time I realized it was making me feel bad.
Yeah.
And it was such an energy suck and it was confusing. And I felt bad. I was like, I think that the thing that I'm best at is like sitting in a room with somebody and writing. But if you put me in a room with somebody who makes me want to disappear, then it's hard for me to access like my gift for writing. And
Yeah.
uh, that it was a big realization. I think like so you finished your record November 2020.
Hmm.
How did you do that during COVID?
Um, I worked with someone, Jordan Lenning, who I think is a mutual friend, who lives 10 minutes from my house, and we masked up. We had to like learn. I eventually was like, he couldn't tell if I liked anything, and I was like, oh yeah, because you literally can't see that I'm smiling under here. So then I would give him the eyebrows. I'd be like, oh yeah, like I would have to be like someone would be doing overdubs, and I'd have to be like, you know, uh. But yeah, we did it very like most of the record is just Jordan and I, and then we brought in like a rhythm section for 2 days, and then would bring in so two other musicians, and then brought in like people for overdubs individually. So it was very layer by layer, which I hadn't had the opportunity to work that way really, and I really enjoyed it because it allowed a lot of control. It allowed a lot of like room to play because we weren't sort of on anyone's timeline but Jordan
Right.
and I's. And so yeah, it was, all things considered, it was a really enjoyable recording process.
Do you, will it inform what you do next?
Yeah, for sure. I've struggled with being in the band while the band is tracking live and being able to like have the objective point of view to like make the calls that are necessary to like get my vision
Yeah.
brought to life. Like it's really hard to have the zoom out big picture when you're in it trying to like perform. So I've been in that space a few times, and it's not that, and there's certain songs where that is totally the recipe that needs to happen, but overall, I mean, I'm also playing a producer role in what I do next. That feels important to me, because just to get that credit, you know,
Yeah.
because all artists are producing their own records, whether they're on, you know, the credits or not. So yeah, I just want to be able to have whatever space and time I need to be able to create what I want.
How does that make you feel asking for a production credit?
Um, it feels like 100% what I want, but also the imposter syndrome of like, well, I'm not turning the knobs, and like I'm not the one that knows how to play all the instruments, but like I know what I offer is like direction and guidance and editing, and I don't know, like have you seen those like Rick Rubin quotes going around of him being like, I got the vibes, and like what, like he doesn't do, like honestly, no, but I'm not comparing myself to Rick Rubin, but Rick Rubin's approach to like to production is just like, I know music.
Well,
And I'm like, well, so do I.
that's way that's way more old school. Like uh, the way that my parents produce. I'm sorry, that's rude, but I don't mean they are,
Yeah.
but they're not a boy with a laptop. I
Yes.
think that's what a modern producer
Mm-hmm.
is is a laptop person, often a boy.
Yeah.
Um, and but it did not used to be that way. And I was talking with some friends yesterday who are in like film and TV as choreographers and actors and writers and stuff. And they were talking about how the Directors Guild out here, like basically the way that choreographers now have to submit their stuff, they sort of film it, and then the DP like basically gets to take their work. Um, but the Directors Guild has sort of like basically what is directing is kind of like what is producing. It's like, this is
Yeah.
my vision, artist. This is a Quentin Tarantino directed movie, and that's what it's going to look like. And I feel like to now compare you first to Rick Rubin and
Yes,
now
of course. This is a so humble. But there are so many, I don't know, men don't question taking up that sort of space.
yeah,
And I think we do more naturally. And yeah, I think that that just feels like an important credit and an important space to finally like come into, you know, wholeheartedly.
totally. I think for me, sometimes I can see somebody's ego like swaying in the wind, like so fragile from 1,000 miles away. And
maybe that's my own like fear that I'm like worried for them, but I'm like in times where I have asked for a production credit, and I've had like shout out to Micah Talks. I think he like encouraged me to take a production credit, which is really nice. Co-production. But sometimes I'm afraid to ask, not because I don't think I deserve it, not because I think whatever. I'm just like, oh man, I don't want to have to deal with them feeling butthurt. And
Yeah, for sure.
that's sort of what I mean about like the push and pull. It's like, okay, well, I need to look out for me getting a production credit so that I can be nominated as a producer or do this kind of stuff and pitch myself as a producer. Um, but also, like, I need people to want to collaborate with me again.
Yeah,
And I don't come off as selfish,
right.
grabby.
Yeah. Yeah, the word the way I turn the word selfish on me is like hilarious. Like I think most women struggle with that, of like feeling that literally just asking for the bare minimum and communicating a want or need is selfish. I do think like because of the fragile ego that often appears in our line of work, communication is key, and that's a conversation you have like right off the bat, you know? And if someone isn't willing to share that space with you but wants to work on your project as an artist, like then they're not actually wanting to work on your project as an artist if that's your vision. So, yeah, I don't know.
100%. And it's always the people who have a lot going on who are like, well, I don't care. I produce
Exactly.
these 8 other things. This is not like my last job.
Yeah, it's the people that are kind of in it for the right reasons and have and like can hold space for others, which are the people you want to spend time with and collaborate with anyway. So, yeah.
100%. Well, my last question was going to be like, what does selfish mean to you? But I think you actually clarified something that I've been trying to articulate about why I thought selfish was such a funny name for an album, because it's like that's the word that I turn on myself or that I hear out in the world when I feel like I'm just asking for sort of a bare minimum, which is to like uh, have a life and like respect my own boundaries and
Yeah.
also get to pursue what I love.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing is when it, yeah, the boundary thing is so key. And if anyone makes you feel selfish because you're advocating for a boundary, then that's like really a red flag. But I completely understand with what you're saying, and like, yeah, I'm working on not using that word in my own head too, because I think it is something else. I think it's like being in touch with who you are, you know. Um, yeah, I think selfish and bitchy, which I'm like, I know for a fact I'm not a bitch, but I always worry that I'm a bitch. And also, who cares if I'm a bitch?
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know what is happening celestially right now, but I'm such a like people pleasing pushover so much of the time. And I have been in like fights with every person who is point in like point five of authority, like a flight attendant, a yoga instructor. Like I like literally like a yoga instructor. I'm crazy ticklish, and with my eyes closed, came up to
Oh my
me
god.
in my armpits, and I
I would
screamed, and I
do the same thing. 100%. Oh my god.
who does that anyway? And I've been in so many. I've been a huge bitch this week, and I guess it's and by bitch I'm enforcing the rules of society.
Yeah.
Don't when their eyes are closed in their armpits. Are you insane?
Yeah. Right. I
Crazy.
know. I even feel like with being like I was on a label and I'm happy that I'm not. I'm like gonna like my fear is like you're gonna be seen as difficult to work with. I'm like I'm not. I just wasn't working well in that situation, and it's like I'm allowed to not want the thing that you're supposed to want. Like it's okay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
I I mean, period.
Period.
To not want the thing that you were supposed to want. I think that was the biggest hurdle in turning 30. I felt myself becoming so homey and kind of like daring to like myself a little bit. And I was like,
Mhm.
is that really basic of me? Like that I just kind of want
Right.
to, I don't have these like big external dreams because I'm not as motivated by ego. And it was so challenging for me to just like be cool with that, even though I
Yeah.
wasn't it, but I was like embarrassed at how the striving was going away.
I relate to that very much. I feel like I'm in a similar sort of adjustment in myself, whereas like I've done the hustle and it is great for that time, but for me I'm just like it's not sustainable. And you mentioned like the idea of like struggle. And it's this thing that like our industry glorifies, and like there's a lot of different ways to struggle. So let me pick the way that like seems the most sustainable, because if you're going to be in this industry, you're going to feel that struggle. But for me right now, it's uh like touring doesn't feel like something I need to do at this moment. I've done it for a long time, and I I know kind of like I can anticipate what offers are going to feel like and look like, and how much is going to go to the bank and all that. And it's sort of like, what is this worth spiritually, um, and financially, and like all of that. And right now, it's just like I don't feel the need to like try and hustle at the minute. Um, yeah, I think I'm in a season of hominess too. But as we know, as creative people, like that feeds um, that does like feed your creative self too, is that rest and that peace, as long as you don't judge it too hard and not actually enjoy it because you're like, maybe I should be doing something else.
Totally.
Yeah.
I definitely felt that in the pandemic where there were times where obviously like there was not a whole bunch going on and it was so hard to allow myself to enjoy it. And then once I finally got into the rhythm, I was never more creative. My hair was so thick and long, and I know that
Yes. My eyelashes, because I wasn't wearing makeup like
yeah,
all the time, my eyelashes got fluffy. My hair was like amazing. I was so not stressed. Yeah, I feel you.
I was glowing. No one ever saw it, but
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Caroline, thank you so, so much for talking to me. This has been very like life affirming, and you really like radiate like a grounded peace, and I can really feel that because I really don't have that. So when I
I'm
can
trying.
see others, it's nice.
Fake it till you make it. Yeah, today's a good day. I think the Sunday energy really helps. Um, but yeah, just yeah, enjoy your little life. And it's I think it's cool to be at home right now. I think it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well, say hi to Liam for me.
well,
Yeah.
hey, congratulations on getting married.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a happy season
Yeah.
of being at home.
Oh my God, totally. Your home life is blossoming, and you should lean into that.
Not selfishly.
Not
Just enjoy it.
yeah.
Well, I love the record, and yeah, thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Likewise. All right. Well, have a beautiful Sunday. I hope you do
You
absolutely
too.
nothing.
Thank you. I plan on it. A little crochet, and then that's about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All
All right. Bye.
right. Bye.